So when I was in college, I was going to go on a trip with my boyfriend. We were going to go on a road trip to his hometown of Savannah, and I was really, really excited. It was my first road trip with my first boyfriend, and I was really excited. And my mom, of course, ruined it for me, basically, by getting me to expect that the trip would be like we would have some huge fight, and I would learn something about him that made me want to break up, and I would be trapped there. Which is really paranoid because we had been together for a year and we spent all our time together already. She also said, I need to know that you guys aren't going to use this opportunity to play house. I need to know that you're not using this as some sort of test run for what it would be like if you guys lived together or something. And I said, I didn't even consider that. I really feel like you're trying to scare me into not going on a vacation with my boyfriend. So that's kind of the background. First, she sent me this series of texts. Then I responded. Then we'll get into the breakdown. Just so you know, I spent the rest of the day in bed because dealing with you always makes me sad and tired, and I just don't know what to do. You always view my intentions as malicious, just like Dad did. It's not fair. I'm tired of dealing with people like you in my life. You only make me feel bad about myself. And apparently you feel the same way. I don't know how to get along with you anymore, and I'm just about ready to give up. Like I said the other night, I feel ready to wave the white flag. You're way too good at making me feel like a horrible person. I'm tired, I'm hurt, I'm heartsick, and I don't know how to make it better. I keep trying forgiveness, but you keep making me wish I hadn't been so foolish as to trust you not to hurt me again. If you are afraid of anything, it is because you are actually afraid, not because I made you afraid. Make your peace with that. As long as you blame me for your problems, they'll always be your problems. Nothing will ever change for you because you'll always be able to blame me. You'll never have to accept responsibility for your own self and your predicaments. Nothing I said was scary. I have no doubt that you will have a wonderful time and that your experience will be full of innocent fun, unmarred by anything impure. That's because I do trust you. And I said, I never meant to hurt you. I just didn't understand, and I was afraid of what you were going to say because you'd already acted skeptical in the past of me going, and I really wanted to go. And the stuff you brought up did scare me because, yes, I hadn't really thought about it as such a serious thing before. And I obviously hate to think that we might be fighting. I didn't know anything I said hurt you that bad. You did scare me, but I'm ridiculously glad to be trusted. That just wasn't clear. I wish you would see when I didn't mean to hurt you, and then you wouldn't have to stay in bed all day. Because that's extremely, extremely serious behavior for anything about your teenage daughter's boyfriend. I'm really worried about you, and I don't know what to do about it, but I didn't mean to hurt you or blame you or make you feel like a horrible person. Just as my fear is my responsibility, you have responsibility in how you feel when people treat you badly as well. But I did do a better job this time. I didn't freak out. I just said you scared me, because you really have, about this and other things. Eventually I'll get over it, but I had a balance of trust in myself that's seriously wavered now. It's going to take time to recover, and I know that's not just because of you. So in light of that, maybe it'll make it easier to handle the things I said when you realize they're coming out of a ton of really intense fear now. So it's obvious that I'm basically begging her to see that she's scaring me and that she's hurting me by putting all these fears in my head about going on the trip. And her reaction is all about her and all about validating that she's a good person. Take a look. Now, she responded to every little part of the message. I said, I never meant to hurt you, I just didn't understand. And she says, how did you not understand? I spelled out what I wanted from you from the very beginning of the conversation in plain English. I said, and I was afraid of what you were going to say because you'd already acted skeptical in the past of me going. She says, no I didn't. I even told Aunt Katie and Dad about it when you first mentioned it. And I really wanted to go, and the stuff you brought up did scare me because, yes, I hadn't really thought about it as such a serious thing before. I knew that, and that is precisely why I felt the need to bring them up. And I obviously hate to think we might be fighting. I never implied that you would be fighting. I merely needed to know that you had a plan for if you did, and that you realized it. She thinks I'm talking about fighting with my boyfriend. But I'm talking about hoping that she and I aren't fighting. Anyway, she misunderstands, so she says, I never implied that you would be fighting. I merely needed to know that you had a plan for if you did, and that you realized that if you did and it got bad, you'd really not have a way out till the trip was over. I wanted to make sure you knew what you were getting yourself into. I didn't know anything I said hurt you that bad. She had a lot to say about this one. How could you not know that the words, I really feel like you're trying to scare me into not going on vacation with my boyfriend, wouldn't hurt me? I think she means would hurt me. How could you not know that would hurt me? What kind of a mother would I be if I purposely tried to scare you out of doing things? Does that even sound like me? Yeah. Aren't I the one who raised you to be independent? That's hilarious. Aren't I the one who wanted to see you soar? So dramatic, oh my god. Isn't that why I tried to give you every opportunity we could possibly give you? I know for sure it wasn't because I wanted you to be afraid of the world. Think about what it is you're saying. And this is coming fresh off the fact of you telling me that I probably scarred you for life by making you so afraid of sex that you were afraid you may never want it even after you're married. I remember her scaring me about sex. I remember her telling me that people rape you with knives. Like, it's not just having sex against your will. And, you know, like, because I went into the next room at church youth group and listened to a guy play piano, she went on all night about how rape is and how terrible it is and how I should be afraid of it. And she always was so wanted me afraid of everything. Like, I couldn't walk anywhere without being on the phone with her because I was afraid of being abducted, and I just wanted, like, somebody to be able to call the cops if I did get abducted and they happened to hear it over the phone. That was, like, the level of fear I lived in all the time. Anyway, I never tried to make sex sound scary, only important and to be taken seriously. If you are afraid of these things, it is of your own making. Stop blaming me for your fear. And if you are afraid, talk to me about it. I can help you not to be afraid. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. You did scare me, but I'm ridiculously glad to be trusted. That just wasn't clear. How was it not clear? The fact that I was having the conversation with you at all in the first place shows that I trust you. If I didn't, I'd have just told you that I forbid you to go. Not that that would have done any good, but I know, but at least I would have tried. Forbidding me to go on this vacation from 9 hours away. That would have gone well. I wished you would see when I didn't mean to hurt you, and then you wouldn't have to stay in bed all day because that's extremely, extremely serious behavior for something about your teenage daughter's boyfriend. She says, OMG, how much can you possibly not understand me or what this whole thing is about? This has absolutely, absolutely, absolutely nothing to do with boyfriend. How can you possibly think that it does? You couldn't be further off the mark here. I had to go up to bed because I was actually literally physically exhausted from having to deal with you and your unreasonableness, meanness, and callousness. I just never know what to say to you anymore. There's literally nothing I can say to you that you won't take the wrong way. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And it is just exhausting being so completely misunderstood all the damn time. You have no idea what that's like. I have no idea what that's like. Are you fucking kidding me? Everything I say, everything I said, my whole entire life was used against me. Everything. Here I actually skipped some personal stuff about another family member that I don't feel a need to expose, but she dumps a bunch of her own trauma on me. Just things that I shouldn't even know about. She's like, factor this in, and I'm like, I shouldn't even know this stuff about your guys' relationship. That we are underinsured to the extent that our insurance doesn't offer mental health services. Why am I supposed to be taking on these burdens of hers? Exactly. Add all those things together and put them with all the shit you put me through. Recall the horrible way you treated me the other night. All those awful things you said. You always kick me when I'm down. I'm really worried about you. You should be worried about me. I'm worried about myself. But my only option right now is to struggle through on my own the best I can, because our insurance has no mental health component. You certainly aren't helping the situation any by constantly... And then I missed a little bit of the conversation, but What reasons do you have to treat me the way you do? I don't know, maybe because you're a bitch? And I don't know what to do about it. Yes, you do. Stop treating me like shit. But I didn't mean to hurt you or blame you. Yes, you damn well did, and you know it. How dare you claim otherwise? How dare you? Or make you feel like a horrible person. Yes, you do. That's what the other night was all about. You trying to make me feel as rotten and low as you possibly could. Don't even try to deny it. Just as my fear is my responsibility, you have responsibility in how you feel when people treat you badly as well. Yes, you're right, dead name. When my own flesh and blood treats me like dirt I wouldn't even tread upon, I should just remember that I am the one in control of my own emotions and choose not to be sad that all I invested in seems to have shit the bed. You're right. How foolish of me to allow your harsh treatment to affect my emotions. Thank you for that lesson. What would I do without your wisdom and enlightenment? But I did do a better job this time. I didn't freak out. I just said you scared me, because you really have, about this and other things. What on God's green earth have I scared you about? Really, someday I'd like a list, so we don't have to keep going over this. They always demand a list of their behaviors, narcissistic abusers, so that they can argue with them. Since I'm the one who you blame, I feel you owe it to me to explain what it is you blame me for. I demand to know, so I can have the right to defend myself. She just said it right there. She just wants to argue with whatever I tell her. She wants to argue it away and convince me that I'm wrong and turn the conversation upside down until I don't know which way is up. Eventually I'll get over it, but I had a balance of trust in myself that's seriously wavered now. Why? How did I make you doubt yourself? 2 lines of question marks. What don't you trust in yourself anymore? And it's going to take time to recover, and I know that it's not just because of you. First truth you've spoken so far. So in light of that, maybe it'll make it easier to handle the things I said when you realize they're coming out of a ton of really intense fear now. If that's not an attempt at a wicked guilt trip, I don't know what is. For a minute, I felt guilt about posting this because she's so clearly having a mental health crisis and it's so embarrassing for her. But I've had mental health crises too, and they don't lead to me systematically abusing a child. And plus, this was not an outlier of how she treated us. This was a regular, everyday tone from my mom. It was the worst of the everyday, but it was not out of the ordinary whatsoever. This was not an isolated incident. This is a pattern. So yeah, that was the kind of conversation that I had with my mom. And in person, it was even worse than in writing, but at least I got some of these in writing. It's just so immature. She just sounds like a fucking teenager. And at this point, she was at least 27. She's 27, acting like a teenager. It's so hard to deal with somebody who interacts like this. Someone who's so toxic, someone who's so vicious, filled with vitriol, and all I did was tell her she scared me, and she did scare me, and she releases this torrent of abuse that she expects me to then respond to. I mean, it's so exhausting. It's so exhausting. I don't talk to people like this in my life anymore, and I think I used to. I did used to, but I don't anymore. And I have walked away from behaviors like this, and I'm really proud of that, because it has taken a lot of work. Well, thank you for listening. This is just one of literally like 150 examples of screenshots that I happened to actually get. This does not include in-person conversations throughout my life, which not often, but always had the threat of physical violence, because she was just so fucking unhinged about like me saying normal things like, hey, you scared me. I'm sorry. That's what you say. You scared me? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. The end. Anyway, you get the idea.